start today's class laying down. So find your way to your yoga mat. Be sure to grab any extra props like a pillow. If you have yoga blocks, you'll want those close by here shortly. Just go ahead and lay down, maybe finding Shavasana, corpse pose with your arms and legs extended. Or perhaps bending your knees and standing your feet up near the edges of your mat. You might kind of pick up the pelvis and then set your pelvis back down, finding kind of the right angle. And then let your knees or your legs rest together at the center. If there are any other variations that sound or feel interesting to you, go ahead and explore a little bit and keep trying things out until you feel pretty good. And then starting to notice how your body responds to whatever position you're in. Know that for the next few minutes at least, you'll be kind of in a restful state. There won't be much asked of you. So just gonna watch as your body perhaps feels the relief of being off the hook. You've chosen to be here for this class. And so I welcome you to add on or subtract or alter any parts of the class today to suit your needs in the moment. If you feel physically tired and you don't want to move much today, you can keep laying here and just imagine moving throughout parts or even the rest of our class today. You can move along with me for moments or maybe the entire class. But for now, we're resting and starting to notice any other responses from your physical body. Take a moment to recall your day so far and see if you can name any emotions that are currently present or maybe were present earlier on. Take a moment to notice your energy level. And if you'd like to set a dedication or intention for today's class, feel free to do so now. Deepening your breath now. Commit to a sense of fullness in your breath here through as much of today's class as you can, whatever that means to you. Let's take 3 slow clearing breaths together. Inhaling nice and deep, pausing for a second with a full breath in, and then exhaling with a sigh or even a sound if that feels right. Do 2 more like that. Nice big inhale with a pause. And a nice big sigh to release. 3 or so total. And then slowly starting to wiggle fingers and toes. Letting your head rock from one side to the other. Let's start to straighten the arms and legs and reach them long in opposite directions. Fingers and toes stretching and reaching. Maybe wiggling your fingers and toes, or circling your ankles and wrists. All right. And then we'll bend the knees and stand the feet up on the mat. If you have any props beneath your head, we'll move those for now. We'll go through a few rounds of breathing bridge pose. Let's press the hands, the elbows, and the shoulder blades down into the mat. Press your feet down into the mat. With an inhale, with all that downward pressure, start to lift the hip points up toward the sky. And then exhale, lower back down. We'll do that a couple of times. Inhale, feel that push down as you reach the hip points up. And exhale, lower back down. One more time. This time, let's inhale and stay lifted. As you get to the top, go ahead and tuck your chin toward your chest and push a little bit more into the upper shoulders. Check in with your breath here, even if it feels like some work. Let's see if we can breathe as if it's easy. And then lowering back down with an exhale. Grab hold of your knees or shins, and then start to find a little bit of free movement, maybe rocking some weight around your low back, circling your knees, or even rocking and rolling up and down the spine a couple times if you like. Massaging out the sacrum, the low back, the glutes. Kind of get into the hips a little bit even. All right. Pressing your feet back down into the mat. Let's bring our arms out wide to a T. Start to lift and straighten or almost straighten that right leg up. Press it a little bit more into your left foot for more support. Let's circle out the right ankle. If you set an intention today, you could condense it down to a word and like write the word with your foot, your ankle, like your foot's a paintbrush. And then bending your right knee and crossing your right ankle on top of your left thigh, figure four, legs. You can start to let the figure four legs here sway to one side, kind of twisting to one side, and then up and over to the other side. We'll just rock back and forth a few times. Trying to keep both shoulder blades and both arms connecting to the floor, just letting the lower body move side to side. If you want to sync your breath up, exhaling as you twist, and inhaling as you let your knees come back up to center. And you're welcome to continue this rocking motion or come back to center. Maybe press your right hand into your right knee or thigh, opening up the right hip a little bit more. If it's easy to reach and interlace your fingers behind your left thigh and still let your head and shoulders rest on the floor, you might choose that option. If that's not easy, but you want something a little bit in between, you could grab a block and stand your left foot up on a block. You could do a little of both. If your left foot is lifted, you might bend and straighten the left knee a couple of times. And we'll start to think about switching sides, bringing your left foot back down if it was lifted. Let's start to straighten and almost straighten that right leg one last time. and then switch. The right foot finding the floor, and the left leg starting to lift and straighten or almost straighten. You can always hold on to your left leg there too if that helps. Let's circle out the left ankle. Maybe painting a word with your foot, your left foot this time. You could write your own name or something to do with your intention. And when you've had enough, bend your left knee and set your left ankle on top of your right thigh, figure four. Take a few moments here and then let your knees start to rock from one side, up and over to the other side. And again, trying to keep your shoulders and your arms kind of glued to the floor here. That'll help make sure that you're not going too far into this twist. And if you like syncing your breath to the movement, you might inhale as you come to center and exhale as you twist. Take your time. And eventually we'll move a little deeper into this stretch if you want. So possibly pressing your left hand into your left knee or thigh, finding more opening sensation through the left hip. Maybe checking to see if it's easy to reach and interlace your fingers behind your right thigh and still keep your head and shoulders on the ground. If that's not easy, let's maybe find another variation, maybe stacking a block or two beneath your right foot. If your right foot is lifted, you might try bending and straightening that knee a couple of times. Eventually starting to make your way back up to neutral, setting your right foot down. Let's start to lift and straighten that left leg once more, and then bring it on down. Start to turn onto either side, and then press your way up to a seat. Right away, let's move along to hands and knees for cat and cow. You can have your blocks handy or even underneath your hands there if you want to lessen the amount of weight that you have pressing into your wrists. So otherwise, hands pressing into the floor, right about below the shoulders, knees below the hips. Inhale, cow pose, lowering the belly, starting to lift the gaze and lift the tailbone. And exhale, cat pose, rounding up through your spine, tucking your chin, tucking your tailbone, pressing your hands into the floor as you reach through your shoulders. Inhaling to cow pose. Find your own flow here, find your own rhythm. Your exhales have you moving into cat. Extra little wiggles or stretches in between are highly encouraged. It's one of the really good, fun benefits of practicing in your own home is you get to experiment, hopefully with less what's the word I'm looking for? Less inhibition, maybe. I feel like when you're in a public class with people right around you, you might second guess some of your add-ons or alterations just due to being in a room with other people. At least that's my experience. So here you are at home, hopefully a little more free to explore. We'll head into extended child's pose next with the knees out wide toward the edges of your mat, big toes touching behind you, sinking your seat down toward your heels. Find a sweet spot there. If it's too much on the knees today, maybe coming to the forearms. Or maybe walking your hands out toward the top of your mat and then sinking your head and your heart down toward the mat or props beneath you. Let's focus on some diaphragmatic breath here. Make sure that your knees are wide enough apart that you can breathe. Do some belly breaths here, letting your belly expand in all directions with each inhale. Just softening your body with your exhales. Inhaling low and slow belly breaths. And exhaling as you soften. We're here for a couple more breaths. Starting to rise up back to tabletop. Let's lower down to the stomach so legs are straight behind you. And your hands can press into the mat on either side of your chest and then lower on down. Maybe resting your forehead on the floor or a block if that's comfortable. Press into the tops of your feet so much that your knees and your thighs get a little bit lighter on the floor and you feel your legs, you feel your glutes working. With an inhale, let's rise up to baby cobra, lifting the head and the heart just a few inches here. And with your exhale, lower back down. Inhale, rising up, baby cobra. So more so getting the sense of connection through the backside of your body. And exhale, lower down. So we're not necessarily trying to go super high. Inhale, baby cobra. This time, maybe hovering your hands up off of the floor to make sure we're using our muscles around our core and spine. Exhale, lower. One last time. Inhale, rise up, baby cobra. And exhale, lower back down. Stacking your hands beneath your forehead or your fists beneath your forehead. Rest your head on your hands. Let your heels splay out to the side and see just how quickly you can soften the backside of your body. Resting your jaw, unclenching your jaw. And then planting your hands next to your chest. Let's start to press up to tabletop, hands and knees. We'll grab our blocks if you have them and you like to use them. Let's find our first downward facing dog here. So hands up on blocks, curling your toes under. Start to lift your hips, reaching your tailbone high. First and foremost, find the flow of your breath and commit to that. Anything else can be secondary, maybe pedaling your legs out, bending and straightening opposite knees. Maybe rising up to your tippy toes and then lowering back down a couple times, or micro bending your elbows and straightening. One more big breath in and out. Bend your knees, look toward your hands, and exhale as you stop your step or walk your way to the top of your mat. Forward fold. Let the upper body be nice and loose here, maybe swaying a little bit side to side. Maybe nodding your head yes, or shaking your head no. At some point soon, bending deeper into the knees. And then starting to rise up, maybe walking your hands up your legs for support. Rising up nice and slow. Eventually, when you get to the top, just start a little shakeout or a little bounce of your body, just however it starts coming out. If it's not just naturally happening, maybe lifting and lowering your heels and starting to let your arms swing. Maybe you shake just your hands at first or your arms. You can go body part by body part or just see what feels good. Whew. All right. Eventually coming up to the top of your mat, take a look down at your feet. Pick up all of your toes if you can. Spread them out. Hold them there for a moment. And then set your feet back down. Let's flip the palms to face the front of your space. Feel your shoulder blades hugging together behind you a little bit. Take a breath here, feeling sturdy and strong like a mountain. This is mountain pose after all. With an inhale, let's reach both arms high. Option to look up as your hands join overhead. Exhale, side bend to the right, grabbing hold of the left wrist. And exhale, side bend right. Inhale, come back up to center. Switch your grip. Hold on to the right wrist. And exhale, side bend left. Let's do that again on each side. Inhale, center. Switching the grip. Exhale, side bend right. Last time through. Inhale to the center. And exhale, left. Inhale, center. Exhale, fold. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding the hands up to the thighs and pulling the shoulder blades together behind you again. Exhale, fold, bending your knees a little bit deeper. Inhale, rise all the way back up, joining hands overhead, option to look up. Exhale, hands down to heart center, pressing together, just there in front of the sternum. Equal standing pose. We're going to add a little bit of balancing into our flow today. So we're going to add in one-legged mountain pose. We're going to start with the right knee lifting. Your knee could be lifted up here, or you could, have your toe down on the floor or up on a block for support. Also, have a wall or something else handy as we go. So just know what that is as it's coming here next. With our inhale, let's sweep the arms up and overhead as we lift the right knee up into one-legged mountain pose. Exhale, staying right here. One more breath in to prepare. Exhale, airplane pose, step back. So we're slowly pushing that right foot back in space. Arms are reaching back. You could hover here in airplane pose for a few moments. Eventually, we're stepping the right foot back to the floor behind us. Inhale, sweeping the arms up. Exhale, warrior two. So the right heel spins down to the back of the mat. Arms are reaching in opposite directions. And just check in here. We want the shoulders to be over the hips, not too far forward, not too far back, just right there in the middle. Bending into that left knee, gaze beyond your left fingertips. Feel your strength, feel your energy through the fingertips and the toes. Big breath in and out. Inhale, reverse triangle, straightening both legs, reaching your left hand high. Exhale, warrior two. We're going to do this a couple times, bending back into that knee, reaching in both directions. Inhale, reverse triangle, straightening the leg, left arm reaches high. Exhale, warrior two. Let's do that one more time. Inhale, reverse triangle. And exhale, warrior two. Bring both hands down to the floor or your blocks. We're going to step the left foot back to meet your right in your high plank. exhale, downward dog. Big breath in. Let's have a clearing breath, a big sigh to release. Inhale and exhale. Inhale and exhale. Inhale, bend both of your knees, look up toward the top of your mat. Exhale, do what you can to step your right foot forward first, and then your left, folding at the top. Inhale, halfway lift, sliding the hands up to the thighs. Exhale, forward fold, bending your knees deeper. Press your feet into the mat as you rise on up, inhaling to join hands overhead. Exhale, hands pressing together at heart center. Close your eyes for a few moments if you wish. Equal standing pose here, meant to bring balance and connection through the hemispheres of the brain, the sides of the body. Notice something in your physical experience. Noticing anything in your energetic or emotional experience right now. Calling to mind your intention if you set one. Letting your practices activate your intentions and give energy and focus to whatever it is you are intending. Let's take a clearing breath here in through the nose and decide to release. Inhale, reaching hands overhead. This time, let's take the left knee up with us. One-legged mountain pose. Stay here for your exhale. One more inhale to prepare. Exhale, airplane step back. The left leg starts reaching back. So the arms start to reach back, hovering here for a few moments, or just making contact, stepping that left foot down to the floor. Eventually, we'll meet back up, inhaling the hands up overhead. And exhale, warrior two, the left heel spinning down to the mat. Bending into that right knee. Feel your strength here and energy through the fingertips and the toes. Checking in that the shoulders are above the hips. Breathing in, feel your strength. Breathing out. A couple more breaths before we add on our reverse triangle. When you're ready, inhale, straighten the right leg, reaching your right hand high. And exhale, warrior two, bending back into the right knee. Inhale, reverse triangle, straightening the leg. And exhale, warrior two. Last one, inhale, reverse triangle. And exhale, warrior two. Spinning your hands back down to the floor or your blocks. Start to step your right foot back to meet your left in your high plank. One big breath in here. Exhale, lower your knees and lower your seat toward your heels, child's pose. You can edit this, maybe bringing your knees out wide, or maybe your knees want to be closer together. Your hands could be up on blocks or down on the floor. Let your breath stretch your back. You're welcome to stay right here in child's pose or join me in threading the needle here. So let's come on up to tabletop if that's the option you want. We'll reach the right arm high, upward twist here first. And then with an exhale, let's thread the needle, dipping that right arm down and through, maybe setting your right shoulder on the floor, right side of your head on the floor or blocks. Your left hand finding a supportive place to be. I like bringing my left hand up toward the top of the mat and kind of pressing into the floor. Breathe and focus on the right shoulder blade. We'll switch sides here soon, planting your left hand by your face and then rising back up into that upward twist. Right arm reaching high. And then switching, bringing the right hand down to the mat. Upward twist to the left. Left arm reaching high. Hang out anywhere that feels extra good. And eventually use an exhale to thread the needle, dipping that left arm down and through and setting the left shoulder inside of your head on the mat or props. Just checking in that you're enjoying the sensations that you're feeling. If not, find your way to something else. There's no need to power through. There's no benefits you'll get from just powering through pain, especially when it comes to stretching. So giving yourself a break if you need one. Eventually pressing your right hand back down into the mat, rising up, upward twist, left hand high. And then bring your hand down to the floor. Let's come to a seat. Lower your weight onto your back. If you like rocking and rolling, you could grab onto your knees and round your spine and take a couple rock and rolls up and down. We're eventually coming to lay on the floor. So find your way there when the timing is right for you. When you get there, let's hug the knees back in toward the chest and find massaging pressure around the low back, the sacrum, the hips. We'll take a moment to do a quick SI joint reset here. The sacrum connects to the pelvis through two joints called the SI joints. And we'll just give them a little bit of a reset. So cupping or holding on to the right knee or the right leg, we're just going to hold here. Press your left hand into your left thigh. So you'll be pushing your weight against your hand. So the right knee is pushing out into the right hand, and you're pulling your left knee you're working against yourself here. So your left hand's pressing into your left knee, your left knee's pressing into your hand, your right knee's pressing into the right hand. Okay, and then switch. The right hand presses into the thigh, the left knee into the left hand. And then let your feet come down to the floor. Toe heel your feet out a little bit wider. Maybe your arms come out for support. Let your knees twist all the way over toward the right. And then windshield wiper up and over so your knees end up toward the left. Go ahead and do that a few times. Really notice the pressure moving across kind of the rim of the pelvis on the back side. Okay. If there are any last poses, movements, or stretches that you'd like before our final rest, now is a great time to move through those. Otherwise, when you're ready, we'll find our final rest. Maybe Shavasana or a similar pose to how you began class today. Maybe laying out flat, maybe having your knees bent, constructive rest pose. If you're somewhere near a chair or a couch or an ottoman, highly recommend putting your legs up on an ottoman, your knees bent and like your calves resting on the seat. Such a nice variation. But if there's another way you want to be, of course, do that. Maybe taking a couple sighing breaths as you ease into stillness. You can always fidget or move during this time. Oh, this time is meant to give your body some rest, so just make sure it feels somewhat restful if possible. Some people believe that it's important to try to be symmetrical in your posture during Shavasana or during the state of aware meditation or rest with awareness. And I wonder if that is something that your body feels to be true or otherwise. You might rebel and purposely not be symmetrical side to side, like our bodies naturally are asymmetrical. Or maybe it does feel nice in your felt experience now to kind of have your body mirror itself on either side. Taking a moment to establish proper oral posture, as it's called, relaxing your jaw, creating just a little hint of space between the biting surfaces of your teeth and sealing your lips. As much of your tongue, the surface of your tongue, making contact with as much of the roof of your mouth as you can. Noticing or imagining that your nasal passageways are widening and clearing so there's less friction and more ease in allowing you to breathe through your nose. All the muscles around each of your eyes softening. Creating just a little more space between your eyebrows as your forehead relaxes. Noticing the root of your tongue soften. Drawing a line of awareness around the edges of your right ear and earlobe. Tracing a line of awareness from the right side of the jawbone to the chin, to the left side of your jawbone. Tracing an energetic line around the outside of your left ear. Becoming aware of your scalp and the back of your neck. Throat center. Dedicating a few breaths here at throat center, helping you to strengthen your authentic voice, strengthen your ability to communicate. Bringing your awareness to heart center. Dedicating a few breaths here, Anahata chakra. Dedicating a few breaths here to expanding your ability to love and hold others in high regard. Moving to the navel center. Become aware of your right hip, your left hip, the entirety of the pelvis, right thigh, left thigh, right ankle, left ankle, both feet together, both legs together. Noticing the back side of your body, the points of contact between you and the floor. Becoming aware of the top side of your body. Noticing what feels like the inside of your body. See if you can become aware of the air just outside of your physical body. Coming back to the throat center. And third eye center between and above the eyebrows. Take a few moments resting here. You are more than welcome to stay and rest. Please do rest as long as you can. You could ignore the rest of this class and closing and just prioritize those few more moments of rest if you want to. Whether it's now or later, eventually starting to reawaken with gentle movements, maybe a little wiggle of fingers and toes. Maybe letting your head rock from one side to the other. Continuing to bring some movement in. Eventually choosing a side and then rolling to the fetal position on that side, tucking the knees in, maybe using your bottom arm as a pillow. When you're ready, use the help of and strength of your arms to press your way up to a comfortable seat. Let's join hands together at heart center. Loka samasta sukhino bhavantu. May all beings everywhere be happy and be free. And may our own thoughts, words, and actions contribute to that happiness and freedom for all. Together, let's bring thumbs to third eye center now and seal our class in with a little bow forward in gratitude. Thank you. Rising back up in your own time. Thank you for coming to class, everybody. Thank you for prioritizing your rest and your movement practices. Feel free to reach out if you ever have questions or suggestions for future classes. Hope to see you again soon.
See ya!